and city policy, the officers use poor judgment. Adding, the officers will also receive training this month that focuses on the importance of impartiality and fairness. 6 supervisors will receive a written reprimand and 17 officers will receive written counseling, according to the chief. He has met with each officer individually. The department did not release the names of the officers who were escorting Trump at the end of his visit to the state earlier in the week. According to a policy document on the city's website, San Antonio prohibits employees from taking action to support a political candidate while on paid duty, but it allows them to engage in political speech on their own time. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Video game players love customizing every aspect of their character. One game, Elder Scrolls Online, has set a new bar for character creation by letting players design every organ and cell in their avatar's body.
In Elder Scrolls Online, you get to play as whoever you want to play. You are in control of everything from your character's face to their hair to their arteries. We're not just going to give you some pre-made bones and ligaments. You get to create the musculoskeletal system that's right for you. You can even alter the DNA.
Are all of these changes just cosmetic?
No, not at all. They have a huge effect on game playing. If your character's body has any anatomical flaws, they could die immediately.
Beta testers say that designing every aspect of their character is a compelling experience.
I've been designing my orc's liver for 5 hours now. This is awesome.
Designing the hands is the hardest part. I keep having to look up how all the joints connect.
Players can also press the randomize button to get a completely random collection of body parts.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the program. As always, joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We've got a Skype username where you can call in, and of course you can talk about anything you want, but we always have some sort of discussion of interest to bring to the table.
We wouldn't be much of talk show hosts if we didn't.
Right. So you can call in toll-free and join us here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username is lrn.fm. What is your greatest fear, if you have such a thing? You know, I don't spend much time thinking about things that I might be frightened of. I mean, I guess, like one time I went camping and I brought a gun along because there might be some alligators out there. It was in Florida at the time, and there were indeed alligators out there. But, there's
kind of like planning ahead.
Right. There's a difference between caution, I think, and being prepared and being frightful or, fearful of what might happen. And
I don't spend a lot of time being scared either, but I've had instances where I'm suddenly afraid, but I think we're talking about here sort of things that could happen in the future as opposed to just random occurrences in life, right?
Well, I've got the top 10 list. According to USA Today, there's a survey that they conducted in, I guess it was Chapman University in Orange, California, conducted this. The Survey of American Fears, studied in 2015, coming out now. That runs it down here. So we'll get into that. Of course, you can share your thoughts, 855-450-FREE. They asked 1,511 people nationwide about fears and concerns across different categories, including crime, the government, natural disasters, and personal fears and technology.
The robots are going to take us over, that one.
Well, we'll see if that's on the list here in a moment. The 2016 survey data showed a shift from 2015. So this is 2016 data, where many of the top fears were economic and Big Brother type issues, according to Christopher Bader, the professor of sociology at Chapman University. Bader led the team effort, said this year's responses showed more of a focus on health and finance. But while the overall focus of fear may have shifted, corruption of government officials remained the top fear for the second year in a row, which is interesting. Because I didn't expect that.
Americans don't act like they're afraid of corrupt government officials at all.
Why do you say that?
They keep reelecting them.
What are they supposed to do?
It's the same parties over and over again.
It's always the same, scumbags who are running for these offices.
There's third parties. They don't vote for them.
Well, there's the whole wasted vote syndrome where people believe that if they vote for a third party that they're going to somehow result in the person they hate the most getting into office.
Well, there you go. Now we win. Now you found my fear. I'm afraid of a nation of people who don't understand math. Okay, look, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. I'm going to do this one time for those of you who don't have it yet. You have one vote.
One time tonight.
Your vote.
So it's getting down to be like 5 times a week now.
I'm just so sick of it. He's sick of hearing this stuff. You've got one vote. Your one vote is not going to make a difference on a state level. There are no national campaigns, only state campaigns. There's 51 of them going on for president. I was really talking about other government officials here. I'm not just talking about Trump, who has never been a corrupt government official, and Clinton, who I believe to be a corrupt government official. But the fact is your vote is nearly infinitesimal, even if you're in a swing state. So math says vote your heart. Honesty says vote your heart. What more do you need?
Well, also courage would say to vote your heart as well. And that, again, we're talking about fears here, fears that Americans have. We'll go through the full list as we get through the show here tonight. But, you know, the courage to vote how you feel, the courage to vote for somebody that best reflects your values of whatever the candidates are, and of course a lot of the times none of them do, but you know, to find the one that's closest to you and do that despite the fact that people are telling you you can't waste your vote, that there might be all this social pressure on you as well against voting for a third party. It takes some courage to be able to actually stand by what you believe in and vote for what you believe in. Not much courage, not much. But it's, you know, if you're voting for one of the lesser of the two evils, then you are voting based out of fear. That's a fear-based vote.
Here's what I tell them when they say that to me. I do one of two things. If I want to make it fast, I say, look, I'll tell you what. If Hillary or Trump, whoever they're worried about, comes in first in New Hampshire by one vote, I'll send you a fruit basket. Right? And then the other thing that I say is that I'll give you 1 to 10 odds that my vote doesn't make a difference. As a matter of fact, I'll give you 1 to 10 odds that it isn't within 500 votes. And then see whether or not they go ahead. Do they understand math or not? Because people tend to sort of innately understand math. And you know, whatever you want. You want to bet $100? Because I'll give you $1,000.
Well, people may understand the math, but the fear makes them vote irrationally, makes them act irrationally.
Yeah, well, a good bet would make them rational again.
That's a good point.
Make America rational again. Not that I ever
was it ever?
America was ever rational, mind you.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. So the number one fear of Americans in 2016 is corruption of government officials, which is really, I mean, I guess that's not really a fear of something that might happen. That's just reality. I mean,
Isn't that what government is?
Right.
I mean, it incentivizes corruption because, I mean, there's math behind, there's science behind the corruption of government.
That's correct. I mean, there's science behind humans who are attracted to power and the people who are given power and how they are likely to become corrupt.
Because power corrupts and power attracts the corrupt.
So if indeed, and it's, by the way, 60% of the respondents to this survey, so they got to kind of list all of their fears, right? And so each of these fears is like 60%, 41%, 39%. So obviously it's not going to total 100. So they could select the things that they're the most afraid of. So 60% of the respondents selected corruption of government officials. And you know, look, here's the solution, America. We need to get rid of the idea of the state. If you want to solve government corruption, you just have to end entirely the idea that the state should exist, this idea of that it's okay to give people power over others, to have politicians in the first place. This whole thing, we could be gone from this. The Hillary and the Trumps and whoever the hell's next after that. I mean, as though it could get worse. I think it can get worse from here, but it certainly seems, I think, to a lot of people like this is the worst time in electoral history.
Oh, I think that it is the worst time in electoral history, but I think it could get worse, potentially. It's hard to imagine it today, but what was it? Was it The Simpsons that had the two tentacled aliens running for office, and then they said, what are you going to do? Vote third party? And I mean, you know, that's really where it comes down to. It seems like it couldn't get any worse, but man, oh man, You would have thought that the last go-round.
Because there's no way to solve government corruption. It's just part and parcel of that whole system. Let's go to the phone calls. Your thoughts, 855-450-FREE. We've got Elijah in California. You're on Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves, so go ahead.
All right, so I wanted to talk about the creepy clown sightings.
Oh, the creepy clown sightings. Yeah, another thing that has America all aflutter.
I don't see clowns on the list. Actually, surprisingly, clowns are not on the list here. But go ahead, Elijah.
I'm kind of, getting a little bit creeped out about this, huge incident going around about these clowns trying to lure children into the woods, and clowns with white vans, and the school incidents of a guy named Garbo the Clown threatening a Las Vegas school, telling them that they're coming for them. I mean, what do you guys think is going to happen here? Like, do you guys really think that the clowns are going to completely take over?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
but
I can tell you that there's a story out where a man dressed as Batman's running around looking for criminal clowns. So I should have been able to predict this, but
that's hilarious.
The fact is that people are going to begin dressing up like superheroes and punching clowns. That's what's going to happen.
Elijah, thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE.
No, America, I'm not scared of clowns, balloons, ponies, elephants, or things that show up at kids' birthday parties or the circus. I'm not.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you got to be careful with those clown stories. I saw some headline claiming some clown was found with like bodies in his freezer. Not true.
No.
False story.
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
855-450-FREE. You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live. What are you afraid of?
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Investment Rarities, a 43-year-old company, has created the best silver offer ever. Get a U.S. Silver Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, Austrian Philharmonic, OPM Pure Bar, and Silver Round. Have all 5 for $99 postpaid. You heard me right, 5 ounces of silver below cost. No credit card fees, free shipping. Just $99 and you'll have a great start on what it takes to survive even the worst economic storm. Act now and receive Jim Cook's exclusive paper explaining how it's possible to make a fortune in silver today. Don't miss this opportunity. Call 800-328-1860. Read how the above-ground supply of silver has dropped below even gold. The secret is being suppressed. The price could explode at any time. Call today at 800-328-1860. Get 5 ounces of silver for only $99. Find them on the web at investmentrarities.com or call 800-328-1860. Call now before it's too late. 800-328-1860.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want here. Fears of the American people. There's an interesting study that has come out here recently, and I guess it's been done more than a few times, looking at what are Americans afraid of. Turns out it's corruption of government is the number one response. Corruption of government officials, and that was like 60% of respondents. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, are you afraid of something in particular? What is it that's looming out there that is bothering you? And if you got Bitcoin, then maybe you're afraid the price is going down because, well, thankfully it's not recently. It's actually been going up over the last several, actually you could say over the last year or plus. It's been overall going up. Like a year ago it was half the price of what it is now. And so if you've got Bitcoin, we want you to download the official wallet of Free Talk Live. It's called Jaxx. You can get it at jaxx.io or your favorite app store. And there's no wallet like it. It can hold multiple cryptocurrencies in addition to Bitcoin, and more currencies are coming. In fact, I believe they just recently added Litecoin and the new REP tokens, the Augur REP tokens. So a bunch of different options.
Familiar with those?
You're not familiar with those?
No, I'm not.
It's like a betting platform for cryptocurrencies, without getting into detail. Anyway, you can learn more about it at jaxx.io. It was created by Anthony DiOrio. He's one of the founders of Ethereum, and it's super easy to back up your wallet and recover funds with Jaxx. So if something goes wrong, your phone falls into a lake or something like that, it's no big deal because your Bitcoin aren't actually stored on your phone. Just the keys to your Bitcoin are, and you can regenerate those anytime you want. On any platform. In fact, Jaxx is cross-platform, so you can actually get it for Windows, Mac, Linux, in addition to your smartphone. And Jaxx is striving to give you command over your digital life. Coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's your digital command center in the palm of your hand. Jaxx, the official wallet of Free Talk Live, JAXX.io. Well, surprisingly, or maybe not, depending on who you are, the clown fears are not on the list of what it is that Americans are actually afraid of, despite all the news headlines about them. The number one response: corruption of government officials, which was the same top fear as 2015. That sounds like a legit
fear to me. Clowns, I guess I just don't understand why. To some extent, I find this whole clown fear thing grasping for attention.
On the part of the people who are afraid?
Claim to be afraid of clowns. I mean,
because the clowns are also likely looking for attention.
Yeah, everybody's looking for attention here, and it's kind of pathetic in my opinion. If you're afraid of people who go and I don't know, work kids' birthday parties or visit sick children in the hospital, yeah, you've got better things to be worried about.
According to USA Today's summary here, people often fear what they cannot control, said the study's author, and we find continued evidence of that in our top fears. Wait, what's that? You can't control the government, but we get to vote once every 4 years?
Right, they tell us we are the government.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, that's just propaganda. that's basically just a big lie. I mean, the idea that you're the government, unless you actually work for the government, in which case you are the government. But the rest of us out here, just because we might vote, doesn't mean that we want to be part of the system. It doesn't mean that we believe in the system or that we value the system. A lot of people are voting because they want to minimize the damage the government is doing to them, and they see that as really the only way they can do it. That's why they, if anybody writes their so-called representative, they're usually doing it either to garner some sort of favor or stop the government from attacking them in some kind of fashion.
Writing your representative is probably more effective than voting. But I would like to say, just from a practical standpoint here, is your vote has been ineffective unless your vote has been the one vote that separated, a tie from a win for a candidate. Because that's how the system works. The system works that, one vote above a tie is the winner. And that happens every once in a while here in New Hampshire, where we have 400 representatives. It doesn't happen very often, very many places. And it doesn't happen to very many people in New Hampshire either very often. It's just unusual to have happen. So if so, the fact that you go and vote has been ineffective. I'm not saying your vote hasn't counted. I'm not saying they didn't count it. I'm just saying it didn't matter.
So if you want to share your fears with us, if you have them, you can join us toll-free here. If you want to admit to it, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Number 2 on the list of the top 10 fears of Americans for 2016. And number 2 is awfully similar to number 4. Number 2 is terrorist attacks at 41% of the respondents. And number 4 is being a victim of terror at 38.5%. That seems like a pretty subtle difference in categorization there. I mean,
it does to me too.
I guess you could just be afraid for other people being
the terrorist attacks will occur
in a terror attack.
Terrorist attacks will occur, and they will occur as long as people want to control other people. Effectively, a terrorist attack really is no different than a government attack, except that governments demand taxes from people. ISIS is calling itself the Islamic State because now
they want to be a state,
demanding taxes from people. And by the way, I saw some video of them putting up a road. So there you go.
Who will build the roads? Apparently ISIS.
Apparently ISIS will. So yeah, there you go.
Terrorist attacks. Is that something that you're afraid of? It's an irrational fear, by the way. You talked about that government. The number one fear here was it was a rational fear because, well, the government is corrupt. The fear of government corruption that's real. You don't have to worry about that one because it's happening. But terrorist attacks, very unlikely to actually occur. You're more likely, as I understand it, to actually be attacked by a police officer than by a so-called terrorist.
But, foreign policy of your nation can increase, the chances of a terrorist attack. So,
right.
We saw that with Russia and in Georgia and these sorts of things. Depending on the policy of the nation, then you're more likely to see an attack. So you're seeing many of these Islamic attacks against Western nations that are fighting ISIL right now, and prior to that, it was Al-Qaeda and these sorts of things. They don't seem to happen in Switzerland for whatever reason.
Well, as far as the terror attacks go, they just don't seem to happen here very often, even though the U.S. government is readily, killing innocent people in the Middle East, and that is obviously what's sparking whatever terrorist strikes do occur. Whichever ones aren't actually ginned up by the federal government in the first place, which there have been at least 200 of those within the last 10 or 15 years. And those 200 attacks, of course, were stopped. They never actually happened because the federal government basically created it from start to finish by finding a sucker, a patsy or whatever, kind of talking them into carrying out some kind of bombing or strike of some sort, then giving them the tools that they need to do it, giving them the van, giving them what they believe is a bomb, giving them even a hotel room in which to stay, and really just kind of holding their hand all the way right up to the moment when they're supposed to push the plunger, so to speak, and then swooping in to save the day. So you factor those cases out, and you get very, very few examples of actual terror attacks.
It's hard to know which one of those people would have gone and done something on their own. But I agree with you, and I sort of disagree. Like, I don't feel very bad for somebody that gets caught up in a situation like that. But at the same time, I don't think that those people are likely to get very far.
855-450 free. You can join us here on Free Talk Live.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything here. The live Saturday edition of the program, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Americans' number one fear in 2016 is corruption of government officials, which is the same number one fear as 2015. Now, we're going to go through the list here, the top 10, and you're welcome to share your thoughts with us. 855-450 free is the toll-free number, and again, Skype username is lrn.fm. Now, I said the solution to the corruption of government officials is to end the state entirely, but obviously, unfortunately, there's not going to be a button that I can press to end the state anytime soon. So in the meantime, you got to kind of work within the system, unfortunately, to try to change things for the best. And the Libertarian Party, whether you like their presidential candidate or not, and many libertarians are divided very sharply on Gary Johnson, who is the presidential candidate, their selection for this year, and also in 2012. Many of the supporters of the LP are very sharply divided, but either way, the Libertarian Party is still the best option out there, at least on the national level, to try to get the word out about liberty. That's what I think. And if you want to get involved, we've got a deal for you, because normally it's $25 for a membership in the Libertarian Party, for a year-long membership, but we've actually negotiated a free membership for Free Talk Live listeners. All you have to do is go and claim it, and here's how you do that. Go to lp.org/FTL, like Free Talk Live, lp.org/FTL, and you get your free Libertarian Party membership, and I believe they're going to send you a copy of the LP News as well.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, so you'll kind of get a taste of what it's like to be a member in the Libertarian Party, and this is a real membership. It's just kind of the free version, so you won't get all the issues of the LP News. If you want to get those, they'll ask you to pony up $25, because you do have to pay for shipping when it comes to getting a newsletter out there, for instance. So lp.org/FTL. This is how you can get involved in the Libertarian nomination process. Maybe you want to try to water the principles of the party down, like a lot of people appear to want to, or maybe you're like me and you actually care about principle and you want to see something change within the LP. Then this is a way that you can do that for no cost. lp.org/FTL, like Free Talk Live. All right, let's continue here. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. Terrorist attacks, number 2 on the list, and number 4, being a victim of terror. We'll get to number 3 here in a moment, but first, to the phones and your calls and thoughts. We have Ricky on the line in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Ricky.
Brother Ian, Brother Mark, good evening.
You're on the air. Go ahead.
Well, hopefully give me the opportunity without freaking out on me there tonight, Ian. See, tonight I wanted to, for a change, talk about a little something different.
Thank goodness. All right, let's hear it.
You got it, brother. Now, just try not to laugh, because history proves it's not funny. Now, one thing I will point out, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is a little bit different than just about anywhere else in the world, and I'll tell you why. Now, first thing is something we don't have, and I'm glad for it. This is one of the biggest problems people got. It's called the Constitution of the United States of America and the Bill of Rights. I'm glad I don't have it. I got the law of the land and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in 1968. That's point number 1. Although
what?
I do have a
that
problem
is a bunch of rambling claptrap. What are you talking about?
The Constitution of the United States, of course, binds Pennsylvania also, right? The state representatives signed it.
Wrong. And don't be just hanging up on me. What you guys need to do is, here's the little secret. Look up the Independent Sovereignty Act. It was, I forget his name, but it was a Republican congressman that had 9 terms wrote it. And the reason why is the state overstepping their boundaries. See, if you look at history, and history is the thing. See, the problem with a lot of people is they were taught in school as statists at a point, just like I was. Now, my neighbors would if they would hear some of the stuff that people hear of Pennsylvania, would they laugh at Ricky from the Commonwealth, the Jeffersonian? I don't have the Constitution of the United States of America. I don't have those holes. I'll give you an example. Second Amendment. You guys know the Second Amendment, right? We don't have the Second Amendment here. You know what we have? Only Section 21. Let me recite it for you. It goes like this. The citizens have a right to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state. Now, not that I would ever have a problem open carrying, but say I did. If I were to recite my rights, it would go like this. I'm making you aware of and exercising my rights under Section 1, which is my inherent rights of mankind. Then I would say, Section 21.
So what you're saying is, Ricky, that you prefer to live by the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania rather than the U.S. Constitution.
Not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Pennsylvania repealed the Constitution of the United States of America just because they were part of the unification of the states.
Pennsylvania can't repeal the Constitution.
Look at it. Well, you don't understand.
It's clear that I don't.
Look it up on the damn internet.
I've got better things to do. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. There are people who, would prefer to be state citizens. They would prefer to be, a member of that body politic rather than the national one. That's what I thought he was getting at there. But, that's Ricky for you. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE.
That's kind of how it was before the Civil War and, like the 13th and 14th Amendments. Before that, essentially the states were over the federal government. And then this, when the federal government proved that it could, kill people that didn't want to be part of the federal government, then it gained a lot of stature. When you hear about sort of the weakest presidents in U.S. history, you'll generally hear them coming before number 16, which is what Lincoln was. Well, that's because the office of president, as described by Alexander Hamilton and in the Federalist Papers, was simply a commander-in-chief over the military, and he didn't have the power to declare war. So, the president wasn't supposed to do anything before, wasn't supposed to do anything as far as policy or anything like that. I mean, sign bills, don't sign bills, that's about it.
Right. I mean, like the idea that the Pennsylvanian government has overturned the Constitution just seems pretty laughable on its face.
If they have, they probably haven't told the federal government about it.
Yeah. Now, I mean, not to say that I oppose the idea of, states going their own way. I do. I mean, I want to see secession happen, and I want to see it happen soon. But you don't have to overturn the Constitution in order to gain sovereignty for oneself or one's state. It would just simply be a declaration of secession or a declaration of independence for one state to leave the United States. And I think that is something that's worth talking about. I think that's something that I hope that we'll see happen in our lifetime. I don't know if we're going to get to liberty in our lifetime, but secession, I think, would be a step in the right direction. Now, of course, in a seceded state, things could become less free. That is certainly a possibility. You could argue that the U.S. Constitution, to some extent, has actually restricted some of the bad ideas of some of the states, or at the very least, the federal government
certainly
has restricted some of the bad ideas. Like
Constitutions, I think, was a really great document when it was drawn up. It seems like a lot of the things that they sort of wrote in, like shall not be infringed, and then they went and infringed them.
Yep.
That kind of bugs me about it.
Well, you could argue that that's evidence that it's essentially a dead letter, that, that it's there and they kind of pander to it every now and then, like the Supreme Court will reference the Constitution. But the fact that they're violating it so blatantly in so many different ways, you can go through the Bill of Rights, for instance, and just, basically see that all of them have been violated for quite a long time here in the United States. And so if the government is violating its own Constitution, then how is it anyone could possibly argue that it does apply in any way, shape, or form? Because obviously they're not enforcing it upon themselves. So why is it that anyone else should be held liable to it? Why is it that, I didn't sign the thing first and foremost, so and nor did I swear to it at any point. So if the politicians are ignoring it, and the police
they did swear to it,
and the police are ignoring it,
and they swear to it,
then why should I follow their rules? The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us here, you can bring up what you want. 855-450-3733.
I know the reason, because you have to move to Somalia.
Somalia?
Somalia.
This is Free Talk Live's Live Saturday show.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-1063. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. so you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-945-1063. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-945-1063. That's 1-800-945-1063.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Live Saturday edition of the program. We'll take your calls about anything you want. And our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. Coming up, more of the fears, the top 10 fears that Americans said they have, according to a study done this year and in years past. We'll get back into that here in moments. Also, if you want to help support Free Talk Live, you can shop with us. Go to shop.freetalklive.com. Enter Amazon through the links you'll find there. There's Amazon US, UK, and Canada. You click into the right one for you, get your shopping taken care of. Free Talk Live gets a cut of the purchase. It's that simple. It's the same great Amazon experience you're used to with the huge selection and the shipping deals and all that. It's just you're entering through our affiliate link, so Free Talk Live gets a portion of Amazon's profits. Normally, they'd keep it all for themselves. If you go through shop.freetalklive.com, it's the same great Amazon. It's just that we get a cut of your sale. So we appreciate it when you do that, and it just takes you an extra moment. In fact, if you want to save that time for the future, here's what you do. You go to shop.freetalklive.com, pick the Amazon that's right for you, and then immediately bookmark the landing page. So as soon as you get into Amazon, that landing page, that first page that comes up, just bookmark that, and then all you have to do is go back to the bookmark, because it's the bookmark that contains, it's that URL that contains our little code. So just do that, and then you'll never have to go to shop.freetalklive.com again. Well, you take out that extra step and just go straight to your bookmark. And we appreciate it. So let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. Let's talk first to Patrius, listening in Toms River, New Jersey. Patrius, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, thanks for taking the call.
Welcome, sir.
So, talking about fear, I think that we are conditioned to be fearful because it's able then to use fear to sell everything. They're selling gold, they sell survival food, you're selling defender shields for EMF radiation. Fear is a rather primal human reaction, I would think.
Yeah, I was told when I was getting, sales training sort of very early on that people bought because of fear much more quickly than they bought because of, possible gain. And that it's basically that it's easier to sell insurance than it is to sell investments was the notion.
Especially life insurance. But the thing that I was thinking of bringing up, you mentioned libertarian.
Yes.
You've heard of Cato?
Oh, yeah.
I'm familiar with Cato Institute. I've been there, actually.
Okay, so then you're sort of one of us.
Cato's...
Obviously, Patrius is an anonymous name. If you go to Zero Hedge, you'll see an explanation of anonymity, and I like to use it. I think it's more beneficial for protection from those who cannot do anything but ad hominem attacks, as they state, attack the person instead of use facts. But when you were talking about fabricated terrorism, I mean, you were thinking that most of it was all government fabricated. What about the World Trade Center, the Boston bomb, or the loaded car bomb in 42nd Street years ago, the truck or whatever it was, SUV? We have, what I think the problem is we can create what I call semantic scenarios. In other words, verbal constructions of some scenario that will explain most anything or anticipate most anything or create some fear. That's pretty much one of my postulates. Because there's little reality. It's only what your most persistent perception
Let
is.
me address the idea that terrorism is real. So terrorism certainly is real. So is the possibility that you're killed by your electric car window, right? It could happen. We use them every day, but these things occur. Mm-hmm. Terrorism is it's unlikely that you will be killed because of terrorism, and people.
Well, that's odd. That's statistics only.
Yeah, that's statistics. You can't lie. You can't argue with math. So I was putting.
I didn't say that. No. At no point did I say terrorism does not exist. So let's clear the. Let's
I
clear
believe
that
what he
up
said
here.
is you're more likely to be killed by a police officer than you are by a terrorist. And
That's what I
have
said.
seen the statistics. Now I don't know.
I think it's like 10 times more likely. In fact,
I think that the question is. Now you're just saying a citizen is more likely to be killed by a police officer than to be killed by a terrorist, and that's probably true. I'm probably in a demographic cell that makes puts that in dispute, but I don't know. Maybe I'd be interested to see that kind of information. But I would say that terrorism is also driven to some extent. Would you agree with this caller that terrorism is driven to some extent by U.S. foreign policy?
That depends, again, how you look at it. If you were to read The Muslim Brotherhood in the United States by Stephen Murley, or go to globalmbwatch.com or org and download it, look for it, you would see that within the mosques and the Muslim community centers, they have literature which is provoking what they call civilization jihad. And North America is settlement number one.
And what does that mean?
They use lawfare to enforce their constitutional rights. They can complain about church bells on a Sunday, but they don't want us to stop them from putting their prayer mats down.
All
at
right,
an
so this whole
intersection.
them and us thing is not productive at all. So to say that Muslims all want this or they are saying
No, he's saying
this.
Muslim Brotherhood, and I don't really know that
Well, no,
much.
he's also talking about that he was suggesting that the mosques have this propaganda in it. So he wasn't just talking about the Muslim Brotherhood. He was talking about Muslims.
No, I was talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, who founded the Muslim Student Association, the Muslim American Society, all right? Hamas, they founded the Muslim Student Association as a recruiting organization for Hamas. This is fact.
Well, I get it.
Just because you
there is
say it's fact
complicated
doesn't make it
literature
true.
There's
from a
certainly
raid in
organizations
Virginia
out there that have
shows
ill
what their
intent.
plans are. It's the Muslim Brotherhood is organizing.
Do you think that the Muslim
under
Brotherhood?
the
Wait a
umbrella-
second, sir. I have a question. Do you think that the Muslim Brotherhood has a better time recruiting because of U.S. foreign policy? I mean, you sort of dodged that question previously.
You sure did.
Well,
I
yeah,
kind of feel
mean,
like
what relevant is that?
well,
What
it's relevant
is
because when
that?
you drop a Hellfire missile on somebody's house, that it's going to upset their relatives, don't you think?
Thanks for the call tonight, Patriots. Appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. I think that's incredibly relevant. That's probably the most relevant thing to why it is that terrorism happens.
Well, I don't know if there's some organization of Muslims that say they're going to settle North America and spread their word. I think that's kind of what many religions are about, though. Like making everybody their particular religion. I think it's detestable, but whatever.
So
if
Google.
somebody tries to come and force Sharia law on me, they're going to get a real lesson in the right to keep and bear arms.
Beware of someone who claims to have the facts. That's what he said. That's a fact. Just a moment ago, after claiming the Muslim Brotherhood founded blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I looked up civilization jihad on Google, just like anyone could, and found a story from georgetown.edu debunking the conspiracy theory of civilization jihad. Presidential candidate Ben Carson has recently peddled a conspiracy theory about a Muslim civilization jihad plan to take over America. Carson gets his ideas from Frank Gaffney, who was also Donald Trump's dubious source in calling for a Muslim ban. Gaffney says a 1991 memo written by a member of the Muslim Brotherhood is evidence of this jihadist plan. But Gaffney mischaracterizes the nature and the use of the memo and exaggerates the impact that it has had. It was not a formal plan accepted by the Brotherhood, and it didn't have influence in other Muslim circles. So not even the Brotherhood themselves have adopted this, civilization jihad.
So there was somebody who wrote it, right?
Someone
that
wrote
person
something.
believes it,
right? Gaffney and Carson's claims about civilization jihad are baseless, but unsurprisingly appeal to Americans who are already suspicious of Muslims and who won't bother to check the so-called facts that they're receiving from their biased news sources or email chains going around, or however it is they get this information.
Now, I know that there are biased news sources that sort of promote this division between the West and Muslims on one side. There have to be these same things going on the other side too, right?
What's that? Biased news sources?
Biased news sources for Muslims.
Of course. Yeah, you've seen the ISIS propaganda.
Yeah.
Right? And this, by the way, that's the summary. I just read for you the summary of a page that gets much more into detail about the memo itself, and there's a lot of information here that I obviously haven't had a chance to look over since we were in the middle of that conversation. But just want to point out, whenever you got somebody claiming they've got the facts, it's time for a fact check. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE.
Well, it seems like most of the Middle East was well on its way to becoming very westernized and modern in the 70s, early 80s. And then, Western nations began to help, and everything fell apart.
Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Join us. Hour 2's coming up. It's the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Canaan, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, October 15th, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.43 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,251 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $643. Antiwar.com reports, since the Democratic National Convention, the Clinton campaign has been accusing the Russian government of being behind a series of hacks embarrassing Hillary Clinton, and has repeatedly claimed that Republican nominee Donald Trump is in league with the Russians. House Democrats appear to be looking to back up those allegations, demanding that the FBI both launch a formal investigation into Trump's involvement in the hacks, and for the FBI to explain to the American people what steps it is taking to disrupt this ongoing criminal activity. The demands are coming from top committee members from 4 different House committees, and they are claiming that Trump advisor Roger Stone's admission that he met with a mutual friend of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange amounted to him bragging about being involved in the hacks. The Obama administration has already confirmed a link between the hacks and Russia, though they've offered no real evidence of that claim. Trump's links to all of this are even more speculative, though Clinton's campaign has treated them as undisputed facts for months. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports the U.S. Department of Transportation announced on Friday that it will not permit any Samsung Galaxy Note 7 smartphones on any flights nationwide due to a defect that has led some phones to overheat and explode. Samsung has recalled 2.5 million phones and removed it entirely from the market due to the problem with the device's lithium-ion battery. Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox said in a statement on Friday, "We recognize that banning these phones from airlines will inconvenience some passengers, but the safety of all those aboard the aircraft must take priority. We are taking this additional step because even one fire incident in flight poses a high risk of severe personal injury and puts many lives at risk. The DOT's decision to ban the Note 7 is consistent with other items banned from U.S. flights that may pose a fire hazard. In-flight fires are one of the most dire scenarios any flight can face. Hundreds of people have died in numerous onboard fire-related accidents in the decade since commercial aviation began. The department said any passenger found attempting to board any flight with a Galaxy Note 7 will be denied entrance onto the aircraft. Also, anyone found trying to covertly smuggle a Galaxy Note 7 into checked luggage will be prosecuted. The DOT stated in a news release, the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 is considered a forbidden hazardous material regulations, which forbid airline passengers or crew from traveling with lithium cells or batteries or portable electronic devices that are likely to generate dangerous evolution of heat. The ban will take effect at noon Eastern Time on Saturday. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports nearly 24 San Antonio police seen in uniform wearing Make America Great Again hats for Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump will be reprimanded or provided counseling for violating department policy, according to a statement by the department on Friday. The officers wore the red caps with Trump's slogan as they stood with the candidate at an airport earlier in the week. They were seen in a video posted on Trump's Twitter page on Tuesday. San Antonio Police Chief William McManus said beyond violating department and city policy, the officers used poor judgment, adding the officers will also receive training this month that focuses on the importance of impartiality and fairness. 6 supervisors will receive a written reprimand and 17 officers will receive a written counseling, according to the chief. He has met with each officer individually. The department did not release the names of the officers who were escorting Trump at the end of his visit to the state earlier in the week. According to a policy document on the city's website, San Antonio prohibits employees from taking action to support a political candidate while on paid duty, but it allows them to engage in political speech on their own time. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Facing mounting criticism that lethal injection is cruel and outdated, Ohio has replaced it with a system that quickly and humanely rips off the heads of death row inmates using powerful robotic arms. The new device is designed to be as humane as possible, emitting soothing white noise and putting prisoners on a cushioned seat before its metallic talons dig into their necks and painlessly wrench their heads off. Ohio Department of Corrections Director Gary Moore praised the machine, saying, quote, "Our new system is a hallmark of compassion. Now these deaths will be pain-free because the machine's claws are coated with topical anesthetic." Quickly pulling off a prisoner's head is considered less cruel than lethal injection, which requires 3 separate chemicals. And Ohio isn't the only state changing the way it handles capital punishment. Last month, Texas unveiled the Machinator, which humanely squishes up to 50 prisoners at once. Coming up next, is anything valuable buried in the woods behind my house? Our team of investigators finds out.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, Hour 2 of the live Saturday edition of the show. We're kicking it off right now with you in studio. It's Ian.
And Mark.
We've got Skype and phone lines. You can dial up 855-450 free to join us here. You can bring up anything you want. We've been talking overall throughout the show about fears that Americans have. A new study for 2016 reveals that the number one fear for Americans is this year what it was last year, and that is the corruption of government officials, with just over 60% of the respondents in the survey saying that that was a fear that they have. Terrorist attacks following that, and number 4 on the list being a victim of terror. So number 2 and 4, terrorism related. We haven't gotten to number 3 yet. We'll get into that here in moments. But we're rebutting the claims of our most recent caller, who was citing some sort of memo by the Muslim Brotherhood with the idea of taking over the United States in what was called a civilization jihad. Well, turns out that that memo, while there is a memo that exists from 1991, was just written by someone who might have been involved with the Muslim Brotherhood, but was never actually adopted by the Brotherhood nor any other Muslim circles. And there's more details on that here. If we get the chance, we can share that with you. But I'm going to go back to the phones and your calls and thoughts. Plus, again, more of the fears that Americans have. Still to come here on Free Talk Live. Let's go first to James, listening in South Carolina to WRNN in Myrtle Beach. Hello, James.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the whole state is doing itself away from the Constitution, and they have their own system and everything. And basically, what I find humorous is that Yes, there are some commonwealths in the country. Yes, there are some republics like Texas. But to my understanding, in order for them to be able to get federal funding and be able to claim themselves as part of the country, they kind of have to adopt the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution.
Yeah, that's a good point. I suspect that any state receiving federal funding has not repudiated the federal government.
Right. Now, whether or not we need to have the state, stop in secession with the way the government is being run right now, I don't have a problem with that. I can understand it. And, all it takes is a certain number. I think it's like 2/3 to actually do that. And, we could start over.
You're talking about to what, amend the Constitution or to secede?
Well, now, as far as secession of states, if there's a certain amount of states that actually agree to it, they could restart the country and restart. I mean, they could choose to readopt the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, or not Declaration of Independence. I guess that's kind of permanent. But that's an option. But one of the other points I wanted to make is I'm prior military. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those few people who I have sworn to protect the Constitution, both foreign and domestic threats. And so, it's definitely something that I accept personally. And, like we tell a lot of people, that's a deal that we agreed to. And technically nobody has ever relieved me from that,
the oath.
Yeah, the oath to protect me against enemies, foreign and domestic. So this is kind of the trick, though. So let's say you and I accept the Constitution at face value, that this is a good document and the government should abide by it. But unless the government abides by it, it's not really – it's just a trick, right? Like then, we abide by it, but they don't. It's kind of like when you signed up for the military and they said, okay, you've got a contract, you've got to stick around for the 4 years you signed up for, but they change all the rules they want. They rewrite the code if they want to. Whatever benefits they decide to give you afterwards, they can change them anytime they want because it's not a contract.
Right, because they're the government, you're not.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything you just said.
Right.
And
there's no contract if one party isn't bound by it.
Yeah, and see, that's one of the issues I have, and that's a big conversation there is, the Constitution says in explicit details what each branch of service can and cannot do. And it basically is like the Second Amendment. By the Second Amendment, every person who is capable and hasn't shown themselves to be a threat has the right to keep and bear arms. I'm a concealed weapons licensed individual, but I shouldn't have to be because I have the Second Amendment. And, one of the things we always say is we have a First Amendment because we have a Second Amendment. So
I've heard it.
The government, the government sitting there and doing some of the things it does right now, yes. I agree. If the president does things that that violates the Constitution, he needs to be held accountable. And who is he accountable by? The legislative branch. They choose not to do it, so it's a catch-22.
And who holds them accountable?
That's a good question.
It looks like nobody.
Once upon a time, I always heard, of the people, by the people, for the people.
That's a crock.
So basically, I know.
So I'm glad to hear, James, that you support secession. Of course, South Carolina was once upon a time one of the states that wanted to see that happen.
If you do it this time, don't fire on that fort.
Don't fire on the fort. Right. Hey, thanks, James, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So are the Muslim Brotherhood, hordes invading the United States for a civilization jihad that's been going on for 25 years? That's what our caller earlier would have you believe. But I thought this was, such a big claim. It deserves some more thorough rebutting here. We can get back into the fears in a moment because this is one of those fears that people have. is the fear of terrorism is sort of tied in with Islamophobia.
Sort of jingoism or xenophobia. So, I mean, you hear it all the time. You get these email chains that, prove conclusively that, the Muslims are here to take us over and force you to eat, halal meat or whatever the hell, the most recent one is. And there's a reason they're email chains. They're email chains because they can't stand up to the scrutiny of the internet. They're just sent directly into your box. That way you don't have to look them up.
We don't know if that's how this guy found out about it. Because again, you've got people like Ben Carson.
That's how my friends are finding out about it.
But you've got people like Ben Carson pimping this idea, which means there's likely talk show hosts that are talking about it. And so those email chains can get writ large, and that sounds like that's what's happened here. So the claims about this memo that was, again, from 1991, so again, 25 years ago, it's a mission statement, they say, that lays out the Muslim Brotherhood's secret plan for taking down our country. It describes how this ambitious goal is being pursued through a variety of stealthy techniques.
What was that secret Jewish document that they used earlier in the 20th century? I can't remember what it was, but the Secret Elders of Zion or something
about that.
Yeah,
vaguely familiar. The scrolls of the
scrolls. Learned Elders of Zion was what it was, and it was found to be completely fake.
It is meant as a report from the Muslim Brotherhood's senior leadership here in the United States back to the mothership in Egypt. It helped to get a handle on what the Muslim Brotherhood and some of those other organizations are doing. So again, these are some of the claims about it. So is this internal memo from a quarter of a century ago a secret manifesto that evidences cooperation on the part of ordinary Muslims and major Islamic organizations in America? Because remember, our caller said that these documents encouraging this civilization jihad are in mosques across America. That's what his claim was. And it says...
how many mosques does it have to be in mosques across America? Isn't one mosque in New York and one mosque in L.A.? Is it that would then in mosques across America?
Well, there's probably no real evidence for that claim whatsoever. Major Islamic... So is this memo evidence that there's cooperation on the part of ordinary Muslims and major Islamic organizations in America to transform the country into an Islamic caliphate, as they would lead us to believe? No. Carson and Gaffney mischaracterize the nature and the use of the memo and exaggerate the impact it's had. It was not a formal plan accepted by the Brotherhood, and it did not have influence in other Muslim circles. This document should not be taken seriously. And they actually have a link to the document itself here, in addition with a breakdown of, kind of a summary of what it's about, which we can, dig in further if you'd like. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Are you scared of the Muslim hordes? It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Attention small business owners. Want to save money on your employee health insurance plan? Learn the little-known solution that could save thousands of dollars on your health insurance benefits and save your employees money, too. Call Health Markets for a free consultation, and one of our 3,000 local agents will show you how to make healthcare reform work for you. We'll design customized solutions for your business that can lower healthcare costs for you and your employees. We'll work directly with you to determine your needs. We search thousands of health plans from over 180 health insurance companies nationwide. You'll also find out if tax credits could save you money. Best of all, the service is free of charge. See why Health Markets has enrolled Americans in more than 2 million insurance policies. You don't have to wait for open enrollment to lower your cost. Call now. Find out how much you and your employees could be saving.
Representatives are standing by to assist you. Call 800-930-5137. That's 800-930-5137. 800-930-5137.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $7 lower at $1,254 per ounce. Silver is 4 cents lower at $17.51 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $634 US. Robertson Roberts has been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live Saturday edition of the program. You dial toll free and join us here to bring up anything you would like. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So there probably are some Muslims who would like to forcibly convert people. Many of them are in ISIS, and they will cut off the heads of the people that won't convert and that they don't like. So, there are some bad Muslims out there, just like there are some bad Christians out there. And I wonder if there's conspiracy theories about the Christians trying to take over Muslim lands over in the Middle East, like we hear about this conspiracy theory of the civilization jihad, which purports that there was a memo from 1991 that outlines the plot of the Muslim Brotherhood to take over the civilization and install a caliphate in the United States. We're kind of digging into that here, and we'll continue.
Yeah, I wonder if any Muslims believe that the United States government and Western powers, which are largely run by people who are nominally Christians, right?
Or at least claim to be.
Yeah. Claim to be, nominally. That's the term I'm using here. They would want to say, I don't know, install puppet rulers and sock puppets and create client states in the Middle East. I mean, I can't even imagine where they might come up with something like that.
So how'd you like to try the best pillow you'll ever use risk-free for 60 days? Talking about My Pillow. And no, I'm not going to send you my Pillow. I'm talking about the brand, My Pillow. You can go to mypillow.com, use code FTL, and you'll get one at half price, as well as, if you'd like, 2 for the price of 1. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. This one change to your bed may actually result in a better night's sleep for you. Maybe not so much pain, or perhaps even the elimination of it. You never know what's going to happen if you change out your pillow, and it's certainly a better idea to change your pillow out than an entire mattress. Much more affordable to do that as well. We've been using My Pillow here, the hosts of Free Talk Live, you and I, Mark, for the past several months, and it's a fantastic pillow. It really does a great job.
Yeah, they offer, don't they give you like 30-day money back?
60 days.
60 days.
Money back guarantee.
If I would have tried this for 60 days, they absolutely could have made me pay for it, because this thing is awesome. It's a really great pillow. It holds your neck in the right position, and, you can wash it.
That's true. You can actually put it in the washer and the dryer. It's designed for that. So it stays cleaner than any other pillow ever.
Yeah. They smell really good, by the way, after it's been washed.
I actually haven't done that to mine yet. I should try that out.
Well, I took mine on the boat, and I didn't have the air conditioning turned on, so I was sweaty and got pretty grody.
So mypillow.com, code FTL. If you don't like it for some reason, if you don't think it's the best pillow you've ever used, you can send it back and they'll give you your money back. It's not a problem. Plus, there's also a 10-year warranty on the product. mypillow.com. Use code FTL to get the deal. So a little bit more about this memo here, this scary memo, which, according to georgetown.edu, is not at all the history of this thing isn't what it's being purported as. It was penned in May of 1991 by a man named Muhammad Akram Adluni. The explanatory memorandum on the general strategic goal for the group in North America was discovered during an FBI raid of a Virginia home in 2004. This document was admitted as an exhibit to court in the Holy Land Foundation trial in 2007, where they were charged with laundering money. After the trial, the document became public. But according to a 2009 opinion by that judge, the memo was not considered to be supporting evidence for that alleged money laundering scheme, nor any other conspiracy. But what exactly does the memo propose, and how is it received or used by those it addressed? Because, again, the claim is that this was adopted by the Muslim Brotherhood and is being, is available throughout mosques in the United States. A closer investigation reveals that Akram likely composed the memo as a follow-up to the group's 1987 conference, proposing his vision for the group's future. In it, he uses the phrase civilizational jihad and states plainly that his belief that the, quote, role of the Muslim brother, unquote, in North America should be one of eliminating and destroying Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house. And that's another quote there. Such rhetoric is arresting, but his language is wishful and does not reflect the Muslim Brotherhood's agenda as outlined in their documents obtained by the FBI. Asking that his memo be added to the council agenda in its coming meeting in 91, Akram frames it as a letter that contains his, quote, hopes, ambitions, and challenges, unquote. In listing a number of American Muslim organizations in the appendix, he even says, quote, imagine if they all march according to one plan, unquote. So he's acknowledging that they don't march according to one plan. These different Muslim organizations are different because they have different ideas. Harvard University professor Tariq Massoud noted this aspirational tone in his testimony before the House Select Intelligence Committee in 2011 and added that it seems to reflect a desire for proselytization and political activism rather than evidence of some coordinated plot. But was Akram's letter adopted by the Muslim Brotherhood as he had hoped? Well, other documents entered as evidence in the Holy Land trial indicate that even if Akram's memo was read, it wasn't taken up in an official way by the Brotherhood Council meeting of 1991. A report of the most important issues addressed in the 91 conference, which would be the logical place for his memo to be mentioned if it were even considered by the group, doesn't mention it. Doesn't reference it at all. And importantly, nowhere else in the public collection of Muslim Brotherhood documents from the trial is it mentioned. It would seem that Akram's pleas to the group to, quote, not rush to throw these papers away and to, quote, read the pages of his letter and comment on them, unquote, went unheeded. I mean, this is the equivalent of, some crackpot sending in a letter to to a group that he's a member of and begging, or like somebody emailing us and begging us to read their email on the air or something like that. Akram may have been. There's no evidence that there's no evidence that those whom he addressed ever took the time to study or comment on it. Akram may have been correct then to fear that his letter would be seen as strange, strange is a quote from Akram, or a, quote, new submission without an antecedent, unquote, or root to what was agreed to in the 1987 conference. Rather than laying out a conclusive Muslim Brotherhood approved plan as Gaffney and Carson would lead their audiences to believe, this document is, at most, one man's utopian vision, or, in the words of the Southern Poverty Law Center, a fantasy of a single member, albeit an ominous one.
Yeah, it's certainly ominous. I mean, it smacks of Mein Kampf, but, Hitler got that published. This one, not so much.
Akram's colleagues did not adopt this memo, but did his ideas still have an impact elsewhere among Muslims? If it occupied a central place in a Muslim movement to take over America, one would think his supporters would have taken up his idea and spread it in popular and academic circles, which is what our caller earlier wanted you to believe, that this idea of this civilizational jihad exists in documents in mosques across America. But apparently that's just not so. Akram's arguments and phrasing in Arabic are rarely found on the web and not found in Islamic doctrine or literature. While there are some Arabic news articles from the last decade reporting about the memo and reproducing the most disturbing bits of his language, his ideas are not widespread online. In what appears to be linguistic coincidence, the phrase civilizational jihad appears once online in 2003 in a question and answer section to a message board post about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. There is no mention of Akram, the Muslim Brotherhood, or their 1987 conference. The use is one of only 6 total websites that come up in Google Arabic archives from 2008 to today. Only 3 sites use the phrase as Akram intended. One is a news article about his memo, one is a short post where the phrase comes up in a Q&A, and the last is another blog that quotes the previous one. So really, there's nothing to back up this conspiracy theory out there. 855-450 free. You can join us on Free Talk Live.
Want to build a maintenance-free, low and slow charcoal briquette fire that burns for hours for free? MeatMastersRadio.com will show you how to build a low-temp charcoal fire that's guaranteed fiddle-proof. It's easy and free. MeatMastersRadio.com teaches charcoal barbecue skills on new topics every week. Go to MeatMastersRadio.com. That's MeatMastersRadio.com.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to AgoristHosting.com. Click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting. That's AGORIST hosting.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protavite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protavite, for giving my life back.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, my Saturday edition of the show. Join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. How about 50% off hosting for a website? 50% off the regular price is what we're offering Free Talk Live listeners over at HostGator. And this is one of the web's top hosting companies out there. And they make it easy to host your website. You know, maybe you've been holding back on getting your own site or blog because you just don't want to get into trying to understand the technical aspects of it. Well, they've got a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress. They've got 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and simplicity of use into your hands. Plus, they've got a 99.99% uptime rating, and that's not their own rating. That's by, I think it's Web Hosting Stuff. It's a website that's long respected for kind of tallying the uptimes of all the various different hosts out there. So check them out over at HostGator.com/FTL and get that special offer of 50% off of their regular prices. That's a special offer just for Free Talk Live listeners. HostGator.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Back to your phone calls and thoughts here. Let's go to NJ, listening in North Myrtle Beach to WRNN FM. Hey, NJ.
Hey, I don't know your name. I'm sorry.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Mark.
Mark's here, too.
Ian.
Yep.
Mark and Ian. Yeah, hi. I just figured I'd call in because I was born in Casablanca, Morocco, and my father was Arabic, and he was a Muslim. I say was. He's dead. And over 20 years ago, he told me when I was younger, he would always call America Big Haifa and Israel Little Haifa. And in other words, that's, well, he'd say it in English too, that America was Big Satan and Israel was Little Satan.
I thought Haifa was the name of a city in Israel.
Well, it could be, but this term,
all right,
what they use, in Arabic, is used towards that.
Okay.
So, anyways, I mean, it quite possibly could be.
So was he living in the United States, calling the United States Big Satan?
Oh, absolutely. Back and forth he went.
How does he sort of justify that? And how did he justify that in his mind? I mean, I just don't.
Well, you can live in a place and hate the government. I mean, that's easy.
Because this is the ideology behind Muslims and some foreigners, I can't say all, is that you can still hate. And then he brought over some of his family members. They hate it. And just as if you were to go interview, and I've seen this, interview Muslims, say in Dearborn or someplace, that you would ask them, would you like Sharia law to be in place here? They would totally want that.
Well, no, that's not true.
Want to convert.
Sharia law doesn't, I mean, I would think you would know this, that Sharia law isn't for non-Muslims. Sharia law is it's a religious code.
Of course it's not. I know that.
Right.
Okay. Well, how can you enforce Sharia law on other people?
Because you could enforce it. What they're wanting is their culture here. That is what they're wanting. And they're wanting that from 20-some years ago. I experienced that. And I grew up south of D.C. I grew up in the Beltway and through there. My mother worked for the Department of Justice. And so I know, I've been living down here for the past 10 years, but I know how much everything has changed. And when people talk about an infiltration, there is an infiltration, but that's from That's from the Obama administration, letting so many Muslims in here. And yes, some can be here. Some might assimilate, using that term, but most deep down, and even says in the Quran, that you just pretend until it's time. So you put on...
I don't recall.
It basically, well, it's not these exact words, but
people often ascribe things to the Quran, and having never read the document, I don't know anything about it.
I've read some of the Quran.
I've read the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is I've read the Bible from front to back, and I can say that if I want to pull out some ugly stuff from the Bible, I can pull it out.
Yeah, but we don't practice it now. That's the problem. Is that what's said in the Bible?
There's plenty of Muslims who don't practice the Quran.
But that's
either.
the thing. I try not to get my information. I try not to get my information from biased sources. I don't know a lot of Muslims. The Muslims I do know act nothing like what you would think
because
Muslims
they're Americanized.
Okay, fine, but I'm just saying the Muslims that I know act nothing like that.
Well, right. I mean, she's saying things like they this and they that as though all Muslims believe the same thing.
No,
they don't.
There's no but that the preachings of the Quran, if they're true Muslims following the Quran, then they are going to basically hate infidels, which is anybody who is not Muslim.
Not true.
That's absolutely false. I've read, I've had lots of conversations about that. They believe that Jews and Christians are people of the book, and so therefore they have, some understanding and agreement.
Yep, they're very similar.
Islam is just a modification of Christianity. Jesus is mentioned a great deal in
as one of the prophets
in the Quran as one of the prophets, right?
That's correct. Thank you, NJ, for your call tonight. I think this is one of the tactics of the Islamophobes.
I think there's a lot of scary mullahs out there. Yeah. A lot of scary mullahs with a lot of scary rhetoric. But the thing is that Islam's kind of like some versions of Christianity in that you follow a particular mullah in the same way that...
Or your own interpretation of it.
Well, that's true, too. But many forms of Christianity don't have the Pope, right? They have just the preacher that's in the church. And that the higher-ups in the church are actually put there... It's like home rule from states. It's the power comes from the individual meetings in churches as opposed to coming from a top-down organization. And I think a lot of Christians just don't understand. But as a Quaker... I understand completely because we're part of, my meeting is part of New England yearly meeting, and we could choose at any time to decide not to be part of that meeting if that's what we wanted to do.
Right. Muslims historically have lived peacefully alongside, back in Muhammad's day, peacefully alongside Jews and alongside Christians.
I think there's a lot of scary Muslims out there, and I see a lot of Muslim immigrants in Europe that don't seem very grateful for a better life, and I find that, kind of despicable. But, I can see why Muslims don't want to integrate when they feel like, hey, we're treated like second-class citizens by a lot of people. It's like this is one of these sort of give and take, back and forth things. In 1995, I don't think anybody cared about Muslims at all, but it's become a very big deal since the towers fell,
Let's talk to Mason in Delaware, listening to WDOV. Hey, Mason.
Hey, hi, Nate. Hi, Ian and Mark.
Welcome.
Hi. I've been listening to your Saturday evening conversations for a while, and I originate from India, and we have a big multicultural society, kind of similar to what we have here in the U.S. And what I feel is, while there are a vast majority of Muslims who are, very well cultured and educated, there is a underlying, a whole underground, so to speak, where they don't really assimilate. They don't talk to you. The ones who actually converse and have a civilized discussion with all of us are the educated ones and who have a liberal mindset. And they are the ones who are glad to have gotten out of Pakistan or from Afghanistan, are living the American dream, so to speak.
Yeah.
You see them working as IT, and you see them working in, government services. But there are a whole slew of, the uneducated and undereducated Muslims who basically don't really think for themselves, but blindly follow these different mullahs who are, for lack of a better word, corrupting their minds, so to speak. And we see that in India a lot too, because in a given classroom in a school or a college, we will have 30-40% Muslims. But,
I know India and Pakistan split basically over along religious lines.
I know, but still, we have a very large population of Muslims anyway. We said, you give them a choice. Do you want to go to India?
Hold on, Mason. We'll bring you back here. It's Free Talk Live.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-929-5733. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-929-5733. 1-800-929-5733.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit GoBerkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
This is the Onion Week in Review. Gushing women voters announced Monday that they just can't help but feel an uncontrollable attraction to the sexist Republican Party. Saying they should know better but just can't resist the GOP's reckless neglect of women's health issues, smitten females across the country are reportedly driven wild by the GOP's blatant chauvinism.
I can't say no to bold, misogynistic politicians who think their authority extends to my uterus. Whenever you vote for a Republican, you feel like you're doing something a little bit naughty.
Top officials within the U.S. military acknowledged Wednesday that they were desperate to be given just one solid war they could really knock out of the park. Citing the recent string of messy, ambiguous military engagements in the Middle East, members of the Pentagon brass called for a conflict against a sovereign nation with a standing army and a clear-cut bad guy who employs conventional tactics and weaponry.
No roadside bombs, no plainclothes militants hiding out among innocent civilians. Just a fair fight where two sides shoot at each other and someone wins. We're absolutely great at that.
This is the Onion News Network.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free to join us right here The number's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype as well. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also, if you support what we're doing here on Free Talk Live, then please become a Free Talk Live amplifier today. Mark, what does AMP stand for?
Advertise, market, and promote. And what it is, the little Mouseketeer club that we have for our radio program. And we only use the money to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live to get ourselves on more radio stations, get more podcast downloads, that sort of thing.
So we're talking, so again, that's amp.freetalklive.com. You can contribute via any major credit card through PayPal, Visa or MasterCard, or Bitcoin right there on the site, amp.freetalklive.com. And we get some cool perks. Let's go back to Mason listening in Delaware on WDOV. Mason, you were commenting, you're from India, I believe it was, originally?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So what I find is there is some truth to this memo which has been circulating about some Islamic communities wanting to create a caliphate, so to speak. Only because, and the reason we don't see it is because they're very subtle and very slow about it. I mean, you're talking about, you're not in a rush, like, oh, we have a deadline that in the next 30 years we will take over America. It's just over maybe centuries.
Well, sure, but just because there are some extremists who want to take over America doesn't mean that's what the majority of Muslims believe.
It's kind of like painting all the Mexicans with the La Raza brush.
Exactly.
I know, but look at London now. Okay, already, just assume that I am like a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. Okay, now the London mayor has already become is a Pakistani Muslim, right? Now, 100 years ago, when British were ruling India, or 50 years ago, and Pakistan for that matter, they never would have dreamt in a million years that a Pakistani would actually be a mayor of London. Now he's become. Why? Because there are enough Muslims in London area and Birmingham that they are basically able to elect a Muslim mayor. So automatically now there is going to be more pro-Muslim legislations occurring. So tomorrow, if there is they won't really call it Sharia, but they will say, let's say that succession rights for Muslim women will be that they will not get the full percentage like a Muslim boy for property rights. Okay, something as subtle as that.
Muslims are 12.4% of the population in London as of 2011.
They will get there. I'm telling you. What I'm trying to tell you.
They did not elect this mayor by there being a majority of Muslims in London.
But at least they guilted enough people. I mean, that's the way it looks like to me. I mean, why would they elect a Muslim guy for a mayor?
Well, maybe they just think that he's the best one qualified. This conversation was had in this country at one point about Catholics too. Like the idea was that JFK couldn't be the president of the United States because he was Catholic, and he couldn't, he couldn't think for himself because the Pope would be running the whole nation. This is just kind of the fear of the other. It goes on all the time totally. as cultures integrate, and I mean I think it can take a while. And certainly I agree there are better cultures and worse cultures, but I don't believe everything I hear about Indians, and therefore I don't believe everything I hear about Pakistanis.
Mason, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And keep in mind the beginning of his call, which was in the last segment for those of you just tuning in, but in the beginning of his call, he acknowledged that Muslims in the United States tended to be wealthy and entrepreneurial, or they're relatively happy with their lives as they are. I mean, that's obviously a very general statement, but I think there's some truth to the idea that if you're living in a cave in Afghanistan and then all of a sudden you've got, running water and you've got heat and air conditioning and power and, all the nice things that most of the poor people in America have, plenty of, that can change somebody's perspective on, how they feel about the United States. So actually coming here and living here will likely, change some perspectives.
Well, I do think that some people, and some of those people are Muslim, have found that being the squeaky wheel allows you to get some grease. So meaning that if I complain about how things are, somebody's going to give me something free in order to, placate me. And that's kind of the problem of the welfare state. I think that the welfare state breeds discontent to some extent. And it also allows people to not assimilate as much. So if you are getting enough government assistance that you can keep the wife at home, then she's not out chit-chatting with the other wives.
You don't have to meet people. You don't have to make people happy.
Figuring out how, hey, my life could be a little bit better if I was like these American ladies and that kind of thing. Really what it comes down to is if free people have to work for the things that they want, they're going to assimilate. We have these complaints about assimilation, surrounding Germans, Irish, Italians, Catholics, Jews, everybody throughout American history. This is the same thing over and over again. And all you hear is, yeah, but these are different. And everybody's different. I'll agree. It's different.
Well, that's what makes life interesting, is people are different. And it's likely that they're not all going to get on the same page with, adopting Sharia law. I mean, can you even imagine if the conspiracy theorists, let's just say they were right, and that there was this big plot to take over the United States with Sharia law? Well, okay, so are you telling me that the police, who are for the most part, white and black people in America,
Christians, Western,
whatever their
from Western belief systems,
are these people going to all of a sudden start enforcing a belief system that they don't agree with? Now, I mean, sure, the police will enforce sometimes some laws they don't necessarily agree with as sort of part of their job, but are they really going to start enforcing burqas? Are they really going to start enforcing, halal meat requirements?
I just can't believe a country of 300 million people with probably 600 million guns is going to say, oh, yeah, oh, well, I guess I'll just give up on this whole showing my face in public thing.
Right, yep. You've elected Pakistani for mayor or for governor, so, now it's all over. Just going to roll over for him, right?
I point out that most of the governments that I've heard of with female heads of state up to this point have been Muslim ones. There are plenty of liberal Muslims out there, as the previous caller, agreed.
Let's go to Rod. He's calling from Canada on Skype. Hello, Rod.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to point out something. Just in the same way that you guys don't call yourselves anarchists, because in spite of the definition of the word, the population does not understand that word in the way that we voluntarists would like it to be understood.
What does the prefix "an" mean?
Without.
Yeah. Without.
Okay, what does the prefix "auto" mean?
Yeah, I'm not arguing against.
Oh, I'm arguing. I am not an anarchist.
Yeah, I don't.
And I'm not hiding the fact that I'm an anarchist from somebody.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that in many dictionaries, the definition of anarchy is the same one as many definitions of voluntarism, right? And so that's
I don't know.
why
I'll take your word for it.
Yes, and that's why many ANCAPs call themselves anarcho-capitalists and so on. Anyway, the point is
do it because
that
Murray Rothbard made a mistake. But go ahead.
It could very well be. It could very well be. But in any case, Sharia, the understanding of the population of the word Sharia, is not the one that is in the Quran, and it is not the one from Will Colley. So when you guys are using that word Sharia and you mean it in such a legalistic way that it only applies to Muslims, I think you're fighting a battle that is futile, because people in Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, and so on, they all understand Sharia as the law of the land, their law. And those laws
probably make some Western women hear that it's better to cover their heads or whatever when they're in those places. But I've never heard of a Western woman sort of being beaten about the head and neck for driving or anything.
Hold on. It's not Orthodox Muslim to believe that Sharia should be imposed upon a government. In fact, that's just, because there are Muslims who believe that does not mean that's what the Orthodox viewpoint is.
That's fine. But the word has that meaning in the general population, and also in a lot
The
of
general population of Muslims, or the general population overall?
Both. There's millions and millions of Muslims that do not know how to read or write in their own language. These are people in very poor countries. So
those people aren't going to institute Sharia law in the U.S.
Right? Yeah, I'm not really worried about that.
I'm not arguing that. That's fine. I don't think that's a reasonable fear.
Thank you, Rod, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, October 15th, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.43 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,251 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $643. Antiwar.com reports, since the Democratic National Convention, the Clinton campaign has been accusing the Russian government of being behind a series of hacks embarrassing Hillary Clinton, and has repeatedly claimed that Republican nominee Donald Trump is in league with the Russians. House Democrats appear to be looking to back up those allegations, demanding that the FBI both launch a formal investigation into Trump's involvement in the hacks, and for the FBI to explain to the American people what steps it is taking to disrupt this ongoing criminal activity. The demands are coming from top committee members from 4 different House committees, and they are claiming that Trump advisor Roger Stone's admission that he met with a mutual friend of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange amounted to him bragging about being involved in the hacks. The Obama administration has already confirmed a link between the hacks and Russia, though they've offered no real evidence of that claim. Trump's links to all of this are even more speculative, though Clinton's campaign has treated them as undisputed facts for months. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports the U.S. Department of Transportation announced on Friday that it will not permit any Samsung Galaxy Note 7 smartphones on any flights nationwide due to a defect that has led some phones to overheat and explode. Samsung has recalled 2.5 million phones and removed it entirely from the market due to the problem with the device's lithium-ion battery. Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox said in a statement on Friday, "We recognize that banning these phones from airlines will inconvenience some passengers, but the safety of all those aboard the aircraft must take priority. We are taking this additional step because even one fire incident in flight poses a high risk of severe personal injury and puts many lives at risk. The DOT's decision to ban the Note 7 is consistent with other items banned from U.S. flights that may pose a fire hazard. In-flight fires are one of the most dire scenarios any flight can face. Hundreds of people have died in numerous onboard fire-related accidents in the decade since commercial aviation began. The department said any passenger found attempting to board any flight with a Galaxy Note 7 will be denied entrance onto the aircraft. Also, anyone found trying to covertly smuggle a Galaxy Note 7 into checked luggage will be prosecuted. The DOT stated in a news release, the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 is considered a forbidden hazardous material regulations, which forbid airline passengers or crew from traveling with lithium cells or batteries or portable electronic devices that are likely to generate dangerous evolution of heat. The ban will take effect at noon Eastern Time on Saturday. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports nearly 24 San Antonio police seen in uniform wearing Make America Great Again hats for Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump will be reprimanded or provided counseling for violating department policy, according to a statement by the department on Friday. The officers wore the red caps with Trump's slogan as they stood with the candidate at an airport earlier in the week. They were seen in a video posted on Trump's Twitter page on Tuesday. San Antonio Police Chief William McManus said beyond violating department and city policy, the officers used poor judgment, adding the officers will also receive training this month that focuses on the importance of impartiality and fairness. 6 supervisors will receive a written reprimand and 17 officers will receive a written counseling, according to the chief. He has met with each officer individually. The department did not release the names of the officers who were escorting Trump at the end of his visit to the state earlier in the week. According to a policy document on the city's website, San Antonio prohibits employees from taking action to support a political candidate while on paid duty, but it allows them to engage in political speech on their own time. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after being fired from his coding position at a downsizing tech firm, 34-year-old Irvine native Sam Morrison told reporters Monday that he believed he had finally achieved the sort of work-life balance for which he has long strived.
Yeah, ever since I got fired, it just seems like my whole entire routine is just clicking. I go for jogs in the afternoon, spend nights with my wife and kid. I'm even cooking more. Everything just feels right.
Morrison, who since his termination has found time to pick up reading again, eat a healthy diet, and sleep more than 5 hours a night, noted that his unemployment has allowed him to find a level of harmony in his personal life that he never before thought possible.
For a while there, I thought that I was going to spend the rest of my life constantly worrying about getting to the office on time and pleasing my boss. Outside of the late payments on the house, the mounting credit card debt, the rapidly depleting savings, my life is essentially stress-free. I honestly couldn't be happier.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour of the program. You can join us here. You can bring up anything that you want. We have been discussing Islamophobia, which is what we've been experiencing from some of the callers here tonight.
I think concerns.
The paranoid belief that there are Muslim hordes waiting silently out there for the moment it's time to strike and enforce Sharia law across the United States. As though that's ever going to be possible. I mean, they don't have, even if that were the plan, they don't have the numbers that it would take to be able to impose that in any way, shape, or form. Nor is there really any evidence that that's what the plan is. There was a caller earlier tonight who suggested there was some sort of memo that had some kind of plan for a civilization jihad, but then we found through a quick Google search evidence that that's just a memo someone wrote back in 1991, was never adopted by the Muslim Brotherhood, is not taken seriously by any Muslim organizations.
I thought
whatsoever.
it was done in the mid-'80s. I thought, from what you read,
it was the memo was written in 1991.
Okay.
And so, yeah, just not really any evidence for that whatsoever. Are there some extreme Muslims who would like to see Sharia law enforced upon everyone? Sure. There are also some extreme Christians out there, who might want to foist their beliefs on other people. So I'm not really afraid of them, nor am I afraid of the Muslims. If you're going to be afraid of somebody, be afraid of the police. They're far more likely than a terrorist.
It's a heck of a jump. What?
To actually kill you. They're far more likely than a terrorist to actually kill you.
But a criminal is more likely to kill you than the police. So shouldn't you be afraid of criminals?
Are criminals more likely?
Oh yes, they are. Okay. Murders are significantly. You're a nut job. I mean, this is why people say that you're bigoted against police.
I'm not bigoted against the
stuff
police.
Like that.
I didn't say anything. I asked you a question.
Yes, you did. No, you said if you're going to do anything, be afraid of the police. That's ridiculous.
Well, as compared to terrorists, yeah, you're 10 times more likely to be killed by a cop.
You're more likely to be killed by criminals than police. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, I don't
be afraid of criminals.
I don't advocate being afraid in general.
There you go.
I don't think it's very helpful, which is why I said if you're going to be afraid, then the police are a better target than Muslims.
You're nuts.
Well, no, that's the truth, Mark. The police are 10 times, as I understand it, more likely to kill you than terrorists in the United States. So that's not nuts. That's
citizens.
Just the way it is.
But, I mean, sometimes in the course of their duties, police officers are going to have legit shoots, right?
Yeah, sure. Sometimes. Okay. That doesn't mean anything to me for all the innocent people that they've killed. So toll-free number tonight's 855-450-FREE. You can join us here. You can bring up anything you want. Actually, we started the show talking about fears, specifically a survey of Americans and what their top 10 fears are. We never even got through the third one. We haven't even told you what number 3 is on the list. We'll get back to that here in a moment. But first, Ferris is on the line in Myrtle Beach. You're listening to WRNN, Ferris. Go ahead. Hello, Ferris. Ferris in Myrtle Beach, going once. Ferris in Myrtle Beach, going twice. Perhaps he is in a bad cell. We're just going to put him back on hold. We'll have our board op check in on him a little bit and see if he clears up. Meanwhile, you can call in. You can bring up anything that you want. So number 1 on the list of the top 10 fears of 2016 with 60.6% of Americans that were surveyed, about 1,500 people surveyed, saying that the corruption of government officials was their number 1 fear.
It's a good, legit fear.
Terror attacks is number 2.
I bet a lot of police fear corrupt government officials, too.
At 41%. Being a victim of terror at 38.5%, ranked at number 4. And then on number 3, the number 3 top fear of Americans in 2016, not having enough money for the future.
Now, that's a legit one, too. I just read an article that most Americans don't have $1,000 in the bank. And that is, that. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean they don't have $1,000 in savings at all? Does that mean
probably
that
because they also likely have a load of credit card debt as well?
Right. I mean, that's so. I guess I would like to have a little more information than what I heard, but if you don't have something for the future, you have every reason in the world to be afraid because it's
something
not like,
bad's going to happen.
It's not like Social Security is going to save you either. I mean, it's going to be enough to feed your dog.
Right. Now we're back to corruption of government officials. I mean, you can't expect Social Security to be there in the future, which of course means that you need to be concerned for how much money you're going to have because you can't count on the government.
And I've heard, good advice. It's not what you make, it's what you spend. So if you're living beyond your means, then that's going to be that's the issue right there. Is you got to stay within your means.
Well, unfortunately, if you're using government money, then your savings are constantly being debased. So they have there's incentives built into this system that are backwards incentives.
It's a huge issue, but it's not like the average individual can do anything about that.
Well, actually, you can do something about it as an average individual. You can take your money and you can put it into things that are not subject to political manipulation.
Like gold and Bitcoin and things like that, yeah.
Right. So precious metals, although there's an argument that there's some manipulation that can go on with the precious metals markets, Bitcoin is definitely untouchable as far as government manipulation is concerned. And so that's a way for you to get your wealth out of the form of U.S. dollars or whatever government currency is where you live and put it into something that is actually controlled not by government people and not by bankers, and that is Bitcoin. There's also other cryptocurrencies as well that are becoming more popular. Bitcoin's becoming more popular over time. It's around $630 US per Bitcoin today. And it's an incredible technology that actually allows you to truly have control over your money for the very first time ever. And it's hard to really explain how important it is. The paradigm shift of taking money from the hands of banks and governments and putting it into the hands of people is a huge paradigm shift for the idea of money. And I don't think people are really awake to that yet.
Well, we can show that when the minimum wage before they switched over to the from the gold standard, just like 1967 or something like that, was $1.25. So if you take 5 silver quarters and look at what they're worth today, you'll have a minimum wage of about $15. That would be the so back then, when you looked at the incentives were much higher for people to save. But now, if you were to take $100 and stick it in your sock drawer and wait 10 years, that $100, you know as well as I do, that $100 is going to be worth significantly less than it was. So it incentivizes people to spend. And if you're going to spend it on things that are going to retain value or hold value or go up, like gold or Bitcoins would be my advice.
I like the meme that I saw online, a Bitcoin-related meme where it showed on the top panel, it showed the grocery carts over the years where, $100 would buy this many groceries that would fill up the cart back in 1980, and then in 1990 the $100 would buy this much and a smaller amount of groceries, and then in the year 2000 it would buy even less. I don't know if those were the years, but you get my point. Over time, the same $100 bill looks like the same thing. It's still a $100 bill. It doesn't buy as much, and that's because of the government constantly inflating the money supply, so more dollars are chasing the relatively same amount of goods. And then they gave the example of Bitcoin and how much, one Bitcoin or half a Bitcoin or whatever, how much groceries Bitcoin would buy over the years of Bitcoin's existence. And, of course, Bitcoin has generally gone up in value over time. And so one Bitcoin would buy a lot more groceries today than it did 5 years ago. And I think that's a very powerful illustration of how Bitcoin is so fundamentally different. I mean, it's just one of the ways that Bitcoin is so different from the U.S. dollar. So no, you are not out of control of your own finances. You can absolutely take control of your money anytime you're ready to start, as long as you're willing to actually take those steps. So if you want to learn more about Bitcoin, I'd recommend you drop by bitcoin.com. Coming up, more on the list of the top 10 fears of 2016. We've been through the top 4, and number 5, we'll get to that on the way here. You can join us toll-free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live. Plus, you can call us on Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. You do need to send a contact request first. We'll approve it as soon as we notice it come in, and then you'll be good to go to call us there. From that point forward, this is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Do you or someone you know suffer from chest pain, blood pressure, cholesterol, or irregular heartbeat? Are you looking for a more natural solution to overcome these health challenges? You hear the ads all the time. If this stuff's so good, why doesn't my doctor prescribe it? That's easy. Doctors are not trained in natural medicine. Extendivite Heart Tonic does want you to be as healthy as you can be, and it really works. Take Extendivite for 6 months and your doctor will say, I don't know what you're doing, but don't stop, it's working for you. Get the dependability of Extendivite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition. You can join us here toll free and bring up whatever you'd like. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Healthcare is all messed up in the United States, and we should have a healthcare system that focuses on health and not sickness. And sure, healthcare or health insurance pays for treating sickness, but it gives you nothing for being healthy. Now, doesn't that incentivize illness instead of health? Well, there's a free market healthcare company that can give you freedom from health insurance. It's healthexcellenceselect.com. They give you a proactive health assessment daily and no charge, 24-hour access to doctors. HIPAA has messed up medical records so much that one doctor doesn't know what the others are doing. How about a medical information card you can give to EMS, first responders, the emergency room, or whatever medical professional you want? You can check them out now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and even massage, you'll love the service and price at healthexcellenceselect.com. That's healthexcellenceselect.com.
I tried them out, and they really are just a much better deal in many ways than just health insurance. Significantly less costly. HealthExcellenceSelect.com.
All right, let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Coming up, though, if we get the chance, we'll go through some of the other fears, the top 10 fears that Americans have in 2016. But first, to the phones and the fun. We'll go to, I believe we got Doug listening in Illinois via TuneIn. Hello, Doug.
Hello. Mark, generally I agree with you all the time. But you were talking a minute ago, Ian had been talking about how you should fear a cop actually more than a criminal, and you didn't agree with them. And what I'd like to know from you can be, okay, if you have a criminal pretty much point a gun at you and endanger your life, do you have the right to take them out with a gun?
Sure.
Do you have the right to pull out a gun and blow them away in your home, if they break into your home?
I don't, but yes, you do.
Because you're a felon.
Okay. Now, do you have that type of accountability, or I don't know if accountability would be the proper word? Do you have that option when dealing with a cop and they threaten your life? You have a phone in your pocket, which we've had happen quite a bit around the country, where you have a phone in your pocket, they take out their gun, they immediately think that you're carrying a gun, they're trigger happy, and they take you out. Do you have that option available with them?
Nope.
No, you don't. In addition to that, you have the whole immunity issue. You have authority.
They have, sovereign immunity as opposed to qualified immunity. Yep.
Right. Well, not only that, you have authority and lack of accountability, which in general you have equal tyranny. Okay? I mean, when you have people that are given authority and they're not held accountable, you only have it equal bad. I mean, here can be an idea what I'm talking about. We can take intent completely out of the equation here. Why don't we take being incredibly negligent? If you're on your phone and you crash into a lady and you kill her, you're going to jail. Okay, but right here up in Wheeling, Illinois, we had a cop doing more than 100 in a 35 going after a guy. Nothing activated on the car, no indication to the public that he had been going after a guy, and he hit and killed the guy walking in the middle of the road. No, not only had he not been charged, they didn't even fire him. It can be that lack of accountability that can make them more of a danger than your typical criminal. Your typical criminal, you can pull out a gun and you can blow him away.
That's a great point,
you
Doug.
You can't do that with cops.
And I didn't actually say, like when the discussion was that I said the police, if you're going to fear terrorists, well, then you should fear police because police are 10 times more likely to kill you than a terrorist.
That's not exactly what you said, but yes, I get the notion.
That's basically what I said. And then you said, Mark, well, then shouldn't people fear criminals more so than police because you're more likely to be accosted by some criminal in some way than you are the police? And
you're more likely to be killed by a criminal than a police officer.
Well, and I gave you that because, that seems to be true, and we didn't really get any further into it. I'm glad you pointed that out, Doug, that, it's a pretty scary thing when cops come after you because you really are completely at their whim. And, if they're going to hurt you, they're going to hurt you, and there's really not much that you can do about it.
Right. That can be my whole point.
Thanks, Doug. Great call.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's talk to Mark. He's in Indianapolis listening to WIBC. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Hey, you're on the air.
Good. Well, just a brief comment on the thing about the police. I mean, I've been in other countries where the police are corrupt, and it's dangerous all the time for everybody. I'm not denying that there's problems here in America, but, anytime there's a blackout, anytime there's a flood or whatever, just chaos can reign. There's just a thin veneer that keeps the world civil. So
yeah, remember Hurricane Katrina where the police were looting stores and stealing guns from people?
Well, the police did some bad things.
Talk about chaos.
I agree with that.
Well,
Yeah.
Let's look for another possibility. So the United States is one of the most liberal countries in the world when it comes to gun ownership, right? Obviously, there's other countries where you can own guns, but as far as sort of Western civilized countries, certainly the U.S. is up there. Do you think that might have something to do with looting when blackouts go on? I mean, if you're going to go and loot a house or a store that might have somebody in it with an AK-47, you're going to think twice.
No, I think so. I think when times are tough, the worst in people comes out. So I think the whole idea of gun ownership is to protect your family and I just think as a policy we shouldn't be saying things like "you should fear the police." I mean, I'm not a policeman, but I'm just saying I appreciate what they do. I've had guns pulled on me by.
Well, let's talk about police in comparing different countries. So I read a statistic recently where in the U.S., the police kill more citizens than they have in Great Britain in 1 month than they have in Great Britain in the 20th century. What do you think about that comparison?
You're correct. Well, I think you're correct. I mean, I don't understand that, but
I don't understand why the police in the U.S. Kill twice as many people as they do in Canada, which has very similar demographics and is only separated by a line in the dirt. I mean, why is that?
Well, if you look at population, we have 360 million.
I'm talking about per capita. Yeah, I was talking per capita. Thank you so much for making.
I think for some reason we've gotten to be a very violent society. It's maybe by watching the TV that we do, the movies that we produce.
They've got the same movies in Canada, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say that maybe there's a lack of accountability in law enforcement in the U.S. or something's going on. I'm not saying, like my partner over here, that you should fear the police. I don't. I think what you should have in your car is a camera.
I didn't say you should fear the police. Let me clarify. I said if you're going to be afraid of terrorists, you should be afraid of police. I don't advocate people be fearful in general, Mark. Don't put words in my mouth.
Thanks for chiming in. I think you should have a camera in your car that records both audio and video, and that way when you do have an encounter, whether that encounter is with law enforcement, with criminals, or with just an accident on the road, that you've got you've got a record of what occurred, and that generally should handle most of your circumstances in that area.
No, I would agree. I think we have a problem. But let me tell you another thing that I was calling about.
I want to hear that. Hang on, Mark. We'll bring you back for that here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I don't think people should be fearful, but there's no doubt the police want you to be afraid of them. Look at the way they behave with their militaristic maneuvers and tanks and guns and body armor and black sunglasses. They definitely want you afraid.
Want to build a maintenance-free, low and slow charcoal briquette fire that burns for hours for free? MeatMastersRadio.com will show you how to build a low-temp charcoal fire that's guaranteed fiddle-proof. It's easy and free. MeatMastersRadio.com teaches charcoal barbecue skills on new topics every week. Go to MeatMastersRadio.com. That's MeatMastersRadio.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $7 lower at $1,254 per ounce. Silver is 4 cents lower at $17.51 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $634 US. Robertson Roberts has been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll free. Bring up anything you want, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight with you, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
Also, if you had but one day to teach someone about economics, what would you tell them? Well, if you don't have an answer, that's all right, because for over 70 years, the Foundation for Economic Education has been providing free resources to teachers and students. And their newest course, Economics in One Day, will give you a breadth and depth of knowledge on how economics works that you'll be able to teach to others. FEE, that's fee, gives you tools for that. You can take Economics in One Day now for free at fee.org/FTL, that's FTL like Free Talk Live, and learn key economics concepts, the inspiring vision the market economy brings, and the challenges that government solutions face. Start today for no charge at fee.org/FTL. That's FEE.org/FTL, and learn why entrepreneurship matters.
Yeah, get college-level education in economics in one day at fee.org/FTL.
The price is right. Let's go to Mark, or back to Mark in Indianapolis. So, Mark, you were calling for a second purpose. Go ahead.
Yeah, when you talk about a list of fears, I'm a consultant, and I work in a few different countries, and I'm working on some big projects for people. And the thing that is happening that people are not aware of is the exponential change that we are in the middle of. It's going to be bigger than the Industrial Revolution and the Renaissance, but it's all going to happen in 10 to 20 years. The time span is so compressed, it's disrupting everything.
What is it?
I mean, I've been in meetings where government people, they're just concerned. They don't have an answer for this.
No, they don't.
And the disruption, of truck drivers, cab drivers, Uber is just the beginning of it.
Right.
So in the next 10, 20 years, there's going to be more change on human life than has been in the last 2 or 300. The governments are fearful. I think that's why they have no...
They ought to be. The dinosaurs weren't smart enough to be fearful of extinction, but governments are at least smart enough to understand that their archaic, top-down, hierarchical model
their days are
of
numbered.
Organization is just... I mean, it was fine for the agrarian revolution when you could chop somebody's head off when they annoyed you, but it just doesn't work anymore. Now that people can get online, it's organized chaos on the internet. They don't have anything for it.
They're losing control bit by bit, and I'm looking forward to it.
I want to tell you this one thing. I was actually in a meeting in the White House many years ago, 10, 15 years ago, and everybody left. It was me and 2 military officers, and one guy looks over to me and just says, "This country is run by the shadow government." I had never heard that in my life.
Interesting.
I was ignorant and blissful.
What does it mean?
And then the other.
Because, I mean, the shadow government could be anything. It's just the bureaucrats, or, then some people will tell you it's the Illuminati.
I asked him that, and he said people who are not elected. And then the other officer says, and we're training our troops to incarcerate American citizens in sports stadiums.
In what?
So here I was, a nobody, and these guys tell me this. So this is 10, 15 years ago. So my point of view is these guys are preparing for a future that most of us are not even aware of. And I'm not saying they're evil. They're making it happen. Technology is making it happen, and these guys do not know what they're going to do with 500 million people unhappy who don't have jobs. So there's a shift happening.
Well, jobs are going to go away. I mean, jobs are sort of an anachronism, too, because at some point you're going to have robots doing most of the menial labor out there, and then what are the humans going to do? Yep. It's very interesting. Any job
that is a rote material, any job that is just repetitive, a computer will do in the next few years. People have got to focus on what their real skills are and how they can think and create and be innovative.
Great advice. Thanks for sharing that tonight, Mark. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Now, there's always, the fear of what's going to change in the future. And one thing's constant, and that is change. There's always going to be changes, and I think he's right that the speed of those changes appears to be accelerating with technology being more integrative into our lives, and just things are speeding up. And you look at the future, and it can seem scary. But I'm sure it seemed scary to the farriers back in the day when cars started hitting the roads.
Nobody knows what a farrier is.
That is someone who made shoes for horses, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So that was probably a scary time for those guys. But again, as he was pointing out, focus on your skills, learn something new while you're at it, because your current skill may go out of vogue at some point.
By the way, farriers make a fortune these days
because
because of supply and demand. There's very few of them, but there are a heck of a lot more in 1916 than there are in 2016, right?
Right. So a lot of them are, that. Probably a few farrier families are still doing it, but a lot of them have fallen off.
The candlestick makers, are that was a real career at one point. Now it's gals on Etsy.
Right. So, things are going to change. The way the society is organized, the way business is done, all of those things are going to change. But as long as you're willing to adopt to those changes or adapt to them, then you'll be all right. I mean, there's always going to be things to do. Whether robots are doing them or not is another question. I mean, we'll see how it goes. All this stuff isn't going to come down on us tomorrow. It's going to, still come along as it happens.
Yeah, I think attitude's the first step, and the willingness to work hard that comes with attitude. Those sorts of things, that's going to make a difference for a long time. But the world she's a-changing, and I agree with the caller, it's going to change dramatically in the next 20 years. And what it's going to look like, I don't know. But I can tell you that talk radio's changed dramatically in the last few years.
One thing that I do love to see happen is the government losing its grip, losing its legitimacy. So we talked about Bitcoin earlier, where it takes money out of the hands of the government and puts it in the hands of the people. That's a huge paradigm shift for money. And then you've got the internet that you mentioned. We have
this election. I mean, let's look at this election when you want to see the government losing its legitimacy.
That's
on one hand, you have you've got a reality TV star, and then the other, a lady who just stole the Democratic nomination.
Right.
And I mean, no one disputes it. They just say, oh, that's politics. They don't dispute it. They just say, well, they're all corrupt, which is awesome as far as I'm concerned. Now at least we're bringing it down to brass tacks, which is to say, evangelical Christians will support a guy who says grab him by the crotch, just in order to prevent this harpy that they hate from getting in the office. It blows the doors wide open as far as illegitimacy goes.
Oh, absolutely. It's so delicious.
It's just, and he's right. It's the bureaucrats that run things, Trumps and Clinton. I mean, all they can do is make things worse.
Right. And really all they can do is just kind of claw to retain whatever amount of legitimacy they still can. And it's going to get harder and harder for them as the internet continues to break down. You got WikiLeaks releasing thousands upon thousands of emails from the Clinton Foundation just this week. And we still have a solid 2.5, 3 weeks before the election happens here. So there's still more to come.
Anonymous claims to have, and I'm not saying this is true, I'm just telling you the claim that they have a tape of or a video of Bill Clinton having sex with a 14-year-old.
Oh, my.
Now, obviously, if you make a claim like that, you better show the video. But that would certainly change things. I look forward to next election.
I bet you it wouldn't change.
You don't think so? I look forward to the next election where we're
they alleged that
where we have reality TV stars competing with professional wrestlers, competing with porn stars, all for the presidential nomination. It's to be awesome.
They've already accused Donald Trump of raping a 13-year-old at some fancy party back in whenever
they don't have video.
Well,
the reason that Trump got in trouble for the grab him by the crotch statement was because there was audio. If there wasn't audio, it wouldn't have been an issue. And it's an issue now because it's good, clean, crisp audio. It might be 11 years old. It could have been 30 years old. No one would have cared. It's the good audio because you can hear him. It sounds just like him saying it today.
For sure. And then, of course, there's also a bunch of Howard Stern interviews that have been coming out as well. It hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but they're out there. And there's headlines today that Trump is, saying that crazy women are better at sex, which is something a lot of guys have said for a long time. So.
I've certainly heard it. I think that if you have to go to crazy women to get good sex, you're doing it wrong.
All right, so we'll continue. You can share your thoughts here. 855 450 free live Saturday edition. This is Free Talk Live.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now. 1-800-719-2949. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-719-2949. That's 1-800-719-2949. 1-800-719-2949.
Do you know that good digestion is your body's first line of defense? Millions of Americans suffer from poor digestion. It shows up in the form of heartburn, acid reflux, GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, indigestion, constipation, diarrhea, and many other symptoms. Healthy digestion relies on armies of friendly bacteria. These good bugs keep bad bugs in check. Probimune, a new, uniquely developed probiotic, is scientifically proven to get to your gut and deliver the benefits of improved digestion. Probimune is an immune system booster and a digestive health enhancer. It's simple to use, and most importantly, you will feel Probimune working, soothing, and relaxing the gut. Get yours today by visiting younghealth.com or call 800-396-9024. Again, that's 800-396-9024. Use coupon code DIGEST to receive 15% off your first order.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. Moments remain here, and you can take control of these airwaves. Toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. If you want to help support Free Talk Live, one of the ways you can do that is by becoming an amplifier today at amp.freetalklive.com. Please go take a moment, sign up. It's $5 a month. You'll get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the commercials that our regular podcast does. We also have the AMP-only Facebook group, which is a really cool resource for our listeners to get to interact with one another and some of the hosts of the show. So go to amp.freetalklive.com. Get signed up with any major credit card through PayPal. You can use Visa, MasterCard, and Bitcoin right on our website to sign up as well. So again, $5 a month, you get some cool perks, and that $5 is invested into Free Talk Live. It's not going in to paychecks for Mark and I. It's actually going into helping us get on more radio stations around the country, bringing new internet listeners on board, expanding our signal as far and as wide as possible. So please help us out at amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Dave in Indianapolis. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dave.
Yes. I'm just an old retired guy, and I've had several policemen that were good friends, and some are retired now. And we've all talked about this issue. And two things that came up was the people in the last 20 years are more apt to give a policeman a lot of lip and not show him the respect. And one policeman made a very strange observation, I thought. He says, when you look for years, when they hired a policeman, he said most of them were either bullies or had been bullied in high school, and this was their chance to get back.
Yep.
They've changed their process now, but this is what has gone on for so many years.
That's my understanding. They still are hiring those people. We've actually had a police trainer talk to us about his experience, and he says that he said, because he quit his job a few years back, but it wasn't more than probably 5 or 7 years ago. And probably like 7 years ago. But anyway, he quit his job because the quality of the recruits had gone down over the years. It had not gotten better. So that, he was saying that a lot of the people that he was training were what he called badge heavies, people that wanted to just wield the power of authority over people. And
I think it's worth pointing out that there are good departments and bad departments, though, and just as like there's good police and bad.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But that was just his observation as being a professional police trainer for his whole career.
It's possible to have better hiring techniques than others, like there's every department, every business, everything sort of has an institutional personality. And
but keep in mind, he was training for more than one department as well.
No, it's true.
Yeah. So anyway.
So this was no big surprise.
No, not a big surprise to me at all. But was there more you wanted to share, Dave?
Oh, no. Well, one thing is that the last caller was talking about the job market training. I was a machine repairman in a large GM plant. And I would say if a kid nowadays, boy or girl, and they're not really college-oriented or fit that criteria, a skilled trade like plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, those jobs will always be there.
Well, until the robots can take them over. But, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, somebody's always going to need their pipes fixed.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend about it just the other day, and, plumbers get paid the way that plumbers get paid because they're willing to stick their hand in a place that's really not very pleasant.
Right.
Not because it's difficult to stick pipes together and use PVC glue.
Right.
That stuff's relatively easy. That most of it comes down to just it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Residential plumbers, it's been a while since we've called one out to the house. It's been some time. My wife happens to be the daughter of a pipe fitter, so thank God she brought that to the marriage. But I mean, they can get between $80 and $120 per hour. Now that's not what the plumber's getting paid. That's what the plumbing company's getting paid. But that's it's an indication of what a residential plumber can make.
Dave, good call. Thanks for making it tonight. I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Take care.
Yep, 855, 450 free.
Yeah, big salute to 598 Chicago.
Huh?
That's the union that my wife's dad belonged to. So the training that she managed to get as a little girl has been very, very useful.
So real quick here, and we'll continue with the calls, but just wanted to give you the rest of this list. We've been doing the top 10 fears of 2016 for Americans. Number 1, corruption of government officials. 2, terrorist attacks. 3, not having enough money for the future. 4, being a victim of terror. That's as far as we've gotten on the list. Number 5, government restrictions on firearms and ammunition. 38.5% of respondents said that was one of their biggest fears. Next one on the list, number 6, people I love dying at 38.1%.
There's it's very real that's going to occur for you. That's the sort of
that's going to happen.
The difficulty with being human is that humans that
lose
you love
everybody you love.
Yeah, they're
number
going to die.
7, economic or financial collapse at 37.5%.
I just don't. I mean, so the Great Recession certainly was a collapse, but I mean. I just don't see this eat the dog economic collapses.
Number 7, identity theft, number 8, identity theft at 37.1%. Number 9, people I love becoming seriously ill at 35.9%.
It's kind of like people, you love dying.
And number 10 on the list of the top 10 fears of Americans for 2016, the Affordable Care Act / Obamacare.
What?
At 35.5%.
I thought government corruption was number 1 on this list.
Let's continue here with your calls and thoughts. Mike is listening in Indianapolis to WIBC. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how are you? Thank
Welcome,
you for
sir.
taking. I'll try to get this in real quickly.
Go ahead.
One, Hillary Clinton's always saying that Donald Trump thinks that Vladimir Putin is a great leader. Well, she forgets about back in 2012 when Obama was running against Romney, that Obama was caught when he thought his mic was off, and he said to one of Putin's aides, tell Vladimir after the election I'll have more flexibility. The other thing is, one of the things that Donald Trump keeps talking about right here in Indianapolis, Carrier got 14,000 jobs leaving Indianapolis, moving to Monterrey, Mexico.
The air conditioning manufacturer?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. Yesterday it come out, Exnor, which is a company here based in Indianapolis, right here on Rockville Road, they make parts like bearings and all that kind of stuff. 350 people losing their job, announced it yesterday, moving to Monterrey, Mexico. That's got to get stopped. There's close to 2,000 people getting ready to lose their job. The other thing is, real quickly,
unless they're willing to move to Mexico, take a pay cut.
They're going to Mexico.
Yeah.
The other thing, real quick, and I'm not talking bad about Mexican people. I love Mexican people. My son was born in Mexico and raised in Mexico till he was 15.
Well, the only way
And
it's
then
going to
come here
stop
to
is
live
if the
me.
government stops their ridiculous regulations on business. It's the government that's driving business out of the United States.
You're exactly right. The other quick point I'd like to make, and I'll hang up and listen to your comments. I really, truly believe the Republican establishment Paul Ryan and all the other Republicans that are against Donald Trump, they're not scared. They're not worried about him losing the election for the Republican establishment. I think they're more scared of him winning because they're a little monopoly. All the lobbyists, all the money they get from the lobbyists and all this other stuff, foreign leaders, all that, that's going to come to a stop. I think they're more scared he's going to get
it's not going
elected.
to come to a stop. I mean, the lobbyists are still going to continue doing
I think that's the one value that I see in Donald Trump is that he's a disruptive factor, and if you can, a highly disruptive.
He's definitely
factor.
disrupting the Republican Party, and that's true.
Well, he'll disrupt Washington generally if he goes in. Imagine tossing a bobcat into a thieves guild. I mean, that's exactly everything's going along fine.
I think you're a little too optimistic there, Mark. I don't think
that's what I see.
Yeah, he's subject to corruption just like anybody else with power. So, Mike, thanks for sharing your thoughts tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Let's go to Deborah. She's in Pennsylvania. Deborah, you got about 20 seconds here.
Yes, good. I just wanted to mention Bridget Gabrielle. She has some books out. She personally has her story that can tell you about Muslim Brotherhood. She's lived it. She can tell you. All due respect to both of you. Love the show, but please get more informed and please read some of her books. Bridget Gabrielle. Thank you.
Okay,
God bless
thanks
you all.
for the call tonight. I suspect she'll be promoting hatred towards Muslims, but that's just a guess. I haven't actually looked her up.
It just says she's anti-Islamic extremist activist.
Okay, well, good. I'm also against extremism in that way, so maybe it'll be okay. I don't know. We don't have enough time to look into it tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night online. In the meantime, you can join us over at freetalklive.com and enjoy your weekend.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, October 15th, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.43 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,251 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $643. Antiwar.com reports, since the Democratic National Convention, the Clinton campaign has been accusing